Hello friends, I'm Brian, and this is Gizmo Board Games. Today, I'm going to review Scooby Betrayal at Mystery Mansion. This is from Avalon Hill, and it came out in 2020. I played this game with my wife and kids, and we've enjoyed it. And if you've played House on Haunted Hill, you kind of know how this works. This is a family-friendly version of that game, or a game that lets you play as Scooby-Doo and the gang. I've set up this game for 3 players, and I'll kind of do a little walkthrough with you of how it works, and then talk about why it might be right or not right for you. So with that said, let's get down to the board. As you can see here, I've got a setup here for Daphne, Shaggy, and Scooby. On each player's board, there's a dial with their starting traits. They've got brains, courage, might, and speed. And everybody starts with a Scooby snack, except Daphne will start with a couple extra. And Scooby snacks, as you play, will allow you to re-roll dice at various times in the game. Each character's got its own special ability. As I mentioned, Daphne's is to have a few extra Scooby snacks at the start, and she can hold more throughout the game, because normally there's a limit to how many you can hold. Daphne gets to hold a little bit more. The game itself is played in turn order. You're going to explore either the mansion itself or the grounds outside. And your characters can start wherever you like and move freely from tile to tile as they come out. The object is to get as much exploration done as you can before triggering a haunt, in which case one person on the team is going to become the haunted, and it becomes a one against many type game. Different from the main House on Haunted Hill is that since it's family friendly, the family can choose who gets to become the haunted person. In the case of my family, I was the haunt because I had more experience with these games than the rest of my family, so they could all work together. Another thing that this game does is it allows you to read from, normally you've got a monster's tome that's only for whoever the haunt is, and a good guy's tome, or the rest of the team with their own goals. And this game allows everybody to freely share, the goals and objectives for both sides. Again, making it family friendly. Or you could choose to play it without that. The one thing I don't like that's different, the different I don't like between the House on Haunted Hill is the haunt, again, doesn't trigger specific person to be the haunt. And I can see why, but that's one of the things I did like about the House on Haunted Hill is it could have been anybody based on who had what cards or what point in the game that the haunt was triggered. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's show you how to play the game. So I'll have Daphne be the first player, and the thing you're going to do is you're going to be able to move rooms up to the number of your speed. In this case, she's got 4. However, there's nowhere for her to move. So she's going to explore, which is an action she can do, going through this doorway to an inside room. She's going to end up in the servants' quarters. In here, it's going to trigger an event. Because that symbol is in the room, I will draw an event card. Is that a genie? Looks like it wants to make a trade. You may bury one of your item cards. I don't have any. If you do, gain 1 might. If you do not or cannot, take 1 Scooby snack instead. So I would gain an extra Scooby snack from this card, and Daphne's got 4 there. And because she triggered some event or action, that would mark the end of her turn, and that event is done. Next up will be Shaggy, and he's outside, so we'll have him explore through this doorway here, and we'll take one of the outside cards, and Shaggy's going to find himself in a cave. And the cave has a clue in it, so let's look at the clue deck. It's a book. Knowledge is power. You may use brains instead of might when making a trait roll, and it has a haunt symbol. Now we're going to roll a number of dice equal to the number of haunt symbols in the game. And Shaggy gets to keep this card. He gets to keep the book with him for the rest of the game. And we'll roll 1 die. And this doesn't matter because the dice are blank, 1, or 2s. And we need to roll a 5 or higher to trigger the haunt. So because I can only roll at most of 2, we're not going to trigger it, but I'll roll it anyway, and it is blank. And that would be the end of Shaggy's turn. Now Scooby could use his movement abilities. He's got 4 to come this way and keep going, or he can explore on his own. I think I'll have him explore on his own, and we'll go this way. Again, he's outside. He's going to go find a trailer. And in the trailer, it will trigger an event. And one thing I didn't point out with Daphne and Scooby is they're in special rooms. So in Daphne's room, heroes heal all traits if they end their turn here, but she's already maxed up. And then in Scooby's room, heroes heal all traits if they end their turn here. And if he takes any damage, he'll end his turn here and he could heal back up. Let's see what this event is. Red herring. Wait a second, something seems off about this. Gain 1 brains. So Scooby is going to gain an extra brains, moving him to 5. I dropped a Scooby snack. You may bury one of your item clue cards and draw a new card of the same type. Well, there aren't any, so that'll just get discarded. But Scooby ended up with some more brains. He learned some valuable information in the trailer. So now if he ever has to make a brains check, he'll get 5 instead of 4. Then we'll come back around to Daphne, and she'll continue exploring inside. She'll go this way, and she finds the statuary corridor. And in here is going to be an item. So looking at the item deck, it's a mysterious letter. That's interesting. Whenever you make a brains roll, you may add 2 to the result. If you do, bury the card. So she can hold on to that for later. And that will end her turn in that room. We'll go back to Shaggy. He's going to keep exploring out here. He'll come over here. And out here he finds a barn. And in the barn is going to be another clue for Shaggy. Bottle. There's a strange liquid inside. After the haunt starts, if you begin your turn stunned, you may bury this card and take a turn as normal. You still heal all your traits. Make a haunt roll now. So yes, if you get stunned during the game, or what would normally cause death in a normal game, when you bring yourself down to the break of one of your abilities, that stuns you in this game, and you basically lose a turn, and then you would heal back up. And this bottle is going to allow Shaggy to lose that turn, or to not lose that turn, and heal up right away and keep playing. And that's another family-friendly thing about the game. The one thing I forgot to mention was at the start of the game, there are 5 different mysteries to choose from. You could read the flavor text, and the mystery determines what haunt is going to be triggered when it's triggered. So Shaggy's going to end up rolling 2 dice now, because there's now 2 clues on the board. But he's still not going to roll a 5. He rolled a 1. Scooby will go next. He'll explore over here. And over there is the riverboat. Heroes may take 1 Scooby snack if they end their turn here. So Scooby's going to end his turn there probably. So he would get a Scooby snack. And it's also another event card. Woo! Yikes, is that a woof? Let's go back where it's safe and get some food. You may place yourself at the mystery machine if you do take 2 Scooby snacks. So maybe Scooby would want to go back to the mystery machine. So that could be a good card if that had come later in the game. But I think he's just fine exploring right now. And that's the gist of the first phase of the game. In the second phase of the game, would, like I said, get triggered if we had some more clues out on the board. Boom, boom, boom. We rolled higher than a 5, or I should say a 5 or higher. At that point, we would look at the mystery based on which clue came out. Let's say it's the mask. So find the clue and then turn the matching haunt number in the secret survival. So if the mask would trigger the treasure chest, we'd turn to page 1 in the Secrets of Survival book, or I should say the haunt one, which would be on page 1. And we'd read the haunt, just the setup, the first part, because the monster would also read their story there in the monster's tome. And at that point, the game would be all about trying to win if you're not the haunt. Basically, defeat whatever it is you've got to do. And there's all these other chips that could come out due to the various haunts, and they have different abilities, and it's a game for you to explore, and I do like that. And the game would continue just the same from there. You'd keep exploring around or do whatever it is you need to do for your victory conditions that are going to be spelled out in the tomes. So, that said, I'm going to go back to the big screen. Alright, so Scooby-Doo Betrayal Mystery Mansion. I enjoy this to an extent, and that's the extent that I kind of enjoy Betrayal on House on the Hill. It's fun to play every once in a while, getting things out, the exploration of the tiles, the flavor text on the cards. They make your own story, but after a while there's only so many cards and tiles. You're going to end up exploring the same things over and over again, and so you lose a lot of the story. The haunts themselves are interesting, but again, they're kind of samey after a while. You're either trying to find things or avoid things or collect things. Is pretty much the gist of what they're going to be. So after a while, it just gets kind of samey and not much variety. There's not much, I would say, thinking involved. This is good for families, to play, pull out, have fun, be Scooby-Doo and the gang without too much pressure. Even like I said, there's no dying in this game like there is in the big game. You just get stunned, you lose a turn, you come back. So it's very easy to play, not hard to pick up or teach. The only time it gets a little tricky is once the haunt occurs. It basically changes the rules and the objectives, and at that point it can be tricky. But this game kind of works that out for the families, in that you can come together with both tomes and kind of work together, even though you've got someone who has one set of goals and everybody else has another set of goals. You can still play with the open information and work things out together, especially if you got someone who plays more than others. Like when I played, I played the haunt, but everybody knew what everybody was trying to do. So that helped just kind of keep the game moving and avoid confusion, because this game, like Betrayal and House on the Hill, can get a little complex once you open up the haunt, but not too bad. They kept it simplified for families for the most part, while still being a little complex and dynamic, to make it more fun. It's not a bad game. I enjoy it. I enjoyed, in my case, playing Shaggy. Well, my daughters and my wife played, Scooby and Daphne and Velma. We had a good time. I just wish there's a little bit more depth to it, but I understand why there's not. And I wish there was, in the end, a little bit more replayability, because again, it gets kind of samey. It's not bad to pull out every few months and play a game and go through the story of that game. That'll keep it fresh, I think, but this isn't something you probably want to bring out every week. Yeah, I think it would lose its freshness at that point. But overall, it's fun. I enjoyed it. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, 3.5, I guess, or around a 7 out of 10 on the Board Game Geek rating scale. It's a good little family lightweight game with the feel to a point of the bigger Betrayal and House on Hill. And I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, hit the like button. Think about subscribing, let your friends know. I will keep providing content similar to this and other content on my channel, and I hope you keep coming back. Thank you.